Hi Suzanne.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming to speak to us today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So obviously I know you have been through a lot of heart operations and procedures over your life. Could you just basically talk me through from the beginning, everything?
From the beginning?
Yeah,
Wow.
from the beginning.
Okay, well, I was operated on in 1975, 5 years
Wow,
old.
first heart operation when you were 5.
Yeah, 1975. They knew that I was going to need more surgery, which I underwent in 1982, and I was fine right up until 1990. Developed a flu virus and I just started to feel very unwell. I was working for the MRC, and then December 94 was the first time I had a pacemaker put inside.
Right.
And then I was all right for 3 or 4 years, and then I started to notice I was going into a bit of heart failure. So they then took me in for open heart surgery and replaced the tricuspid valve. And then that existing pacemaker, which I'd had in on the 1994, then it would have worked out around about 1997. It basically, the battery was running down. So I needed a new box put in, which I'd had at the Middlesex. They put it in. But prior to that, I had an infection in a hair follicle here after a bikini line wax. And I'd got antibiotic cover and it went away. And 3 months later, after I'd had the box put in, it festered up again. And then I had another course of flucloxacillin, I think it was, for 2 weeks. It went. And then I just thought I'd never felt well. I even went down to the GP and said, since this new box has been put in, I feel terrible. So they took me in the January of 98. So the device was put in 97 in the June. And within 3 or 4 weeks, I was in A&E in the UCH with endocarditis, which was very severe. And I was in hospital for 6 weeks with intravenous antibiotics. I came home. And I had endocarditis after that for 9-10 years. They think that it actually started from the hair follicle infection. It was a very rare bacteria. It was Staphylococcus capitis, which was from animal fur. And it was sitting on the pacing wire in my heart, just above the prosthetic tricuspid valve.
Just going back to when you had the endocarditis, was it clear to you that you had an infection in the heart?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, at that point, my consultant felt, keep pumping it full of antibiotics. The actual bacteria itself, as I said, it was Staphylococcus capitis, and I kind of developed over the years, my own equilibrium with it. But saying that, the payoff was I had no quality of life. I constantly had flu. I was restricted. I had to stay at my parents' all the time. I didn't go on holidays, didn't work. I could do absolutely nothing for many years because of this damn bacteria in my heart. But the payoff was I still was able to live.
Yeah. And
it got to a point where I thought I have had enough. The actual hospital environment, they all knew me like I was family. I lived there basically in the heart hospital. And they could all see that I was really getting to a point where I'd literally had enough. Yeah. I'm getting all emotional. It all brings it back. But as I say, Dr. Swanton, he could see how bad I was. He had a lot of conversations, and they found one surgeon that would do the surgery. And I had that done on the 4th of November, 2008. And it's there.
I mean, it's always such a difficult situation for us
Yeah.
when we have a patient with infection because, as you say, we've got to weigh up the risks doing something.
There's a way up.
Versus the risks of leaving the device in. And we know fully well that if we leave a device in the long term, the infection will never go away. I think your case was particularly difficult because in your case it wasn't just a case of having to take the device out, you had to take the heart valves out and had to go through an open heart operation. Yeah. When you do look back, when you started presenting with the endocarditis, do you remember how long it was from when you started feeling unwell before people got a feel of actually what was going on?
Good 7 months.
Okay.
The thing is though, I'd had the pacemaker put in, I'd had the infection in the hair follicle, which came and went and then festered again. I was working, And I just started feeling like I had a virus coming on, you know, that horrible feeling. And it would never go, and I started to lose weight.
Right.
And then I started to get the arrhythmia, like palpitations, feeling very strange. I couldn't go to work. I was having so much time off work because I just couldn't get up in the mornings. And then followed up with my doctor, the cardiologist, and it was actually an amazing GP that got me into the UCH.
Okay.
She spoke to the cardiology team that I was under, and whoever was on call, they arranged for me to go to the UCH A&E, and then they kept me there.
And that was the first time, that was about 7 months after it probably all started.
But before that, they treated me 2 or 3 times because they thought I had a urine infection.
Right.
Because I had feelings like my whole body was infected.
Yeah.
So I had every single
Yeah.
symptom. Like, I just thought, what is this?
Yeah. And then they admitted you, and presumably then they started doing some tests, some scans or blood tests or things. What did they do?
It was an echo.
Yeah.
They did blood cultures upon blood cultures, blood tests, and they kept me in the UCH A&E, and within, say, 48 hours, they detected that I had the bacteria.
It grew the staff.
Yeah, so they got me onto the IVs, kept me there for a week until a bed became available in the Middlesex.
So eventually, it came to the crux, as you've said. Howard managed to find a surgeon who would take you on, which was fantastic. And do you remember waking up from that operation?
I do.
How did you feel?
Well, I've had better days. I was on drugs, but I was glad I pulled through first and foremost.
Yeah.
Again, it was probably a 10-hour operation.
Wow.
Where I was told that I was probably going to be in hospital for 3 months, you know, forgetting I'd been there a year anyway, and I was home on weekend leave. I was home within 2 weeks.
Wow.
They thought I was going to be in ITU for about a week, high dependency. I was in ITU for 24 hours. Within 12 hours, I'm sitting up in a chair trying to brush my teeth. They had me in high dependency for, say, 36 hours. I got my mum to go and get a bottle of fake tan so I could put fake tan on.
I was going to say, when they saw you on the ward when you came back, they saw kind of like a different person almost.
Well, I would say it took a while because I've been through the mill.
Yeah.
And I won't deny it was a long process to recover from that surgery because of the 10 years of recurrent infection, procedures and operations, all in that content of 10 years.
Yeah.
There was a hell of a lot I'd gone through.
Yeah.
So it was a long recovery.
Yeah.
And, you know, for any patient that could be looking at this, anyone, we all understand it. There is that feeling of anxiety down below for a long time. But, you know, I cannot believe, sitting here now, I'm kind of regressing, I cannot believe that all happened, and I cannot believe they actually got rid of the damn thing. And that, you know, I'm very, very, even though it's been a hard life, you know, hard battle, thank God the people around me are around me and they can do what they do these days, because I wouldn't be here without any of you.
How long do you think it took before you felt normal?
Normal? Well, my normality, because obviously, you know, I have got what I call the heart plumbing issue.
Yeah.
But based on where I was then, I feel like I have been given my life back. There is no words to describe it. We do not know how lucky we are in our bodies.
Yeah.
You don't take it all for granted, never take it for granted. And
you've been, as we've said, infection-free since then.
Well, my awareness of the high risk of getting infection, endocarditis, so to speak, I was never aware of that up until I actually had it. And so, like, when I had that infected hair follicle, I thought, that's not right. And I went straight down and got antibiotic cover. And I did everything by the book, but I never knew how severe and really what endocarditis was. As I said, I think I said to yourself, the stories, I met one girl that got it through salmonella. You know, so there's so many ways. It's just not the teeth. There's so many other ways. A rusty tack. Yeah. You know, all kinds of stories that you hear.
With everything that you've been through, we were very, very conscious. We were very, very aware of the risk of infection. That was a really important thing to me. I remember the beginning of your case saying to the team, right, in order, our priorities here are 1, make sure that Suzanne does not get an infection. 2, do the best that we can to make sure she's not in pain afterwards. And obviously put a device in a way that will have as long a life as possible.
Yeah.
And we were really conscious of what you'd been through in terms of the infection.
Because we had some real sort of soul-searching conversations, didn't we?
Yeah.
Where I was saying what I want, and you're saying, well, I've got to take on board what she wants, but I've also got to think on long term from a medical point of view.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know.
Which is why we put it up here, isn't it, rather than back down here.
Yeah.
But pleased to see that it's healing really nicely. It looks beautiful.
It does.
I'm sure a bit more physio will get your arm back up, don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.